Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we're diving straight into a critical strategic briefing today regarding AI integration in military command systems. If you are a military commander, an operational planner, or defense architect, the foundational ground of how you direct forces is currently shifting right beneath your feet, and today we're going to look at exactly why. Imagine this. What happens when your command system literally changes its mind every single second? As commanders, we have to confront the very visceral danger of a system that rapidly shifts tactical direction simply because of an overwhelming influx of raw data. Think about your current operational tempo for a second. Now imagine a command architecture that processes 1,000 new data points every second and recalculates your entire battle plan with every single fluctuation. It's a pretty terrifying prospect for anyone relying on a stable chain of command. Here's our roadmap for today. We're hitting 5 key areas: the October 2025 warning, traditional versus AI stability, the very real threat of decision oscillation, the energetic paradigm solution, and finally, how to secure future strategic advantage. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The October 2025 warning. So let's objectively break down this October 2025 situation between Anthropic and the US government. Anthropic restricted the military use of its Claude model, explicitly denying the US Department of Defense unlimited use. Then, just weeks later, the US government treats the company as a supply chain risk, directing federal agencies to reassess their cooperation. Now, on the surface, this looks like your standard clash between corporate ethics and national security. But for us, for anyone building a modern force, it's actually a massive structural warning.
This whole incident really forces us to look past those surface-level policy debates and zero in on systematic vulnerability. Like the quote says, once artificial intelligence begins entering military decision systems, decision stability becomes a core problem in system design. You can't just plug a commercial AI into a command post and expect it to function like a loyal, seasoned staff officer, right? The core issue here is totally structural. It is fundamentally about decision stability.
Moving on to Section 2, traditional versus AI stability.
Historically, when we talked about stability as commanders, we meant engineering stability. That guaranteed predictable weapon behavior. You knew your flight control systems wouldn't just spontaneously oscillate. You knew your missile guidance algorithms were completely fixed before launch. You could simulate and predict it all. But AI? AI introduces decision stability. It's dynamic. It's actively participating in live intelligence analysis and automated tactical recommendations. It shifts our focus entirely away from just hardware, directly to the architecture of the decision itself.
Now, in traditional systems, the military decision-making process was entirely shielded from engineering quirks by, well, you, the human chain of command. Human commanders naturally provide a damping effect. You establish what we call a human decision rhythm. Even if an absolute flood of new intelligence hits the operations center, you don't throw out the operational plan every single second. You maintain tactical consistency, and you ensure plans aren't rewritten until critical, verified intelligence truly forces a strategic pivot.
Section 3, the decision oscillation threat.
So what exactly happens when that human buffer is heavily augmented or completely replaced? When AI enters the mix, that neat separation between engineering and decision-making totally disappears. Just think about the sheer fire hose of inputs a modern system handles: constant sensor data, live satellite feeds, electronic reconnaissance, endless reports. An AI can reorganize all of that in literal seconds, and that means every minor incoming update might generate a totally new tactical recommendation. And here is the absolute crucial point. Without built-in structural risk barriers, the AI is going to overreact to short-term signals. It simply lacks that natural human damping effect. This leads to what we call severe decision oscillation. It's exactly what it sounds like: the command structure repeatedly adjusting tactical direction in incredibly short time intervals. For a military commander, this is a nightmare. This is operational chaos. Imagine units getting conflicting orders minute by minute. That completely destroys your operational tempo and wrecks troop cohesion.
All right, Section 4, the energetic paradigm solution.
So how do we actually fix this at the root architectural level? This is where we turn to the structural mechanisms of the energetic paradigm. Instead of slapping on clumsy external policy bands that just limit an AI's speed, this approach redesigns the decision structure itself. It bakes 3 specific energy flow mechanisms right into the architecture to guarantee stability, even in highly dynamic environments.
Mechanism 1 is decision energy compression. Look, battlefield data is massive, and you obviously can't process every possible action at once. This mechanism structurally compresses all that data chaos into a small, manageable set of stable decision directions. It basically guarantees that even when you're hit with wild data fluctuations, the system maintains a consistent judgment framework instead of just throwing out wildly different guesses.
Mechanism 2 is structural damping. Think of this as your digital equivalent of an experienced, level-headed commander. It acts as a vital risk barrier. When new inputs arrive, they don't immediately derail the overall decision direction. Instead, they integrate into the existing energetic structure. The system is literally prevented from changing direction until that intelligence builds up and crosses a specific threshold. It completely stops the AI from overreacting to short-term noise.
And mechanism 3 is energy path design. You absolutely cannot let information just move randomly through your command system. By creating clearly defined energetic paths, information flows along very strict sequences and weights. This keeps modules from mutually overwriting one another, which maintains a super clear directional structure and prevents all that recalculation chaos we talked about earlier. Finally, Section 5, Securing Future Strategic Advantage.
Let's bring this all together for the future of your own command operations. We really have to shift how we measure military superiority in the AI age. A flawed strategic focus? Relying purely on massive AI model size and raw computational horsepower? True strategic advantage actually comes from engineering an AI decision architecture that possesses long-term operational stability under extreme battlefield pressure. Future military superiority simply won't be determined by just having the biggest AI churning through the most data.
Going back to that October 2025 confrontation, it wasn't just about corporate ethics, it exposed a fundamental truth. Future battlefield advantage will depend not only on AI capability, but also on whether AI decision architectures possess long-term stability. Stability has to evolve from a basic engineering problem into a foundational structural design priority for command-level planners. Because if your AI isn't structurally stable, its raw capability is effectively useless to you in a real fight.
I want to leave you with one final, pretty provocative thought to help assess the true operational readiness of your own systems. As you integrate these incredibly powerful new tools, ask yourself, does your AI command architecture actually have the structural damping to survive the next massive influx of data? Or is it going to succumb to decision oscillation the very second the battlefield goes live? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep your structure stable and stay focused out there.